Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Chef Vic Cuisine. Today we're making cashew chocolate chip cookies, and I'm very excited to announce that we're working with a great company to get those baked. And I can't wait to show you all the details about this great kitchen tool. So, let's get started. Alright, so for the ingredients, we're going to need 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of unsalted butter softened to room temperature, 3/4 cup of granulated white sugar, 3/4 cup of packed light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 large eggs, 2 cups of milk chocolate chips, and finally 1 cup of lightly salted cashews that we're going to roughly chop. And I'm really excited to announce the product we're using to bake these cookies with, the Feekaa Air Fryer Oven. So when you order it online, this is the external packaging that it comes in. And so with a couple quick snips, we can open this to get to the main packaging. So on the main packaging of the air fryer oven, you get to see an image of the oven as well as its model number, and on the side of the box it gives you some of its product specifications as well. So let's open this up and get a good look at the Feekaa Air Fryer Oven. Check this out, and if you know me, I really like the combination of black and gold, and this air fryer is truly an eye pleaser and a great addition to your kitchen. So let's go into some of the functions that this air fryer oven has to offer. Starting on the top left of the oven, we have a timer knob that ranges from 0 to 60 minutes. So it's really convenient whenever you want to time your cooks, your bakes, or your frying. Next up, we have the temperature knob, and that ranges from an operational use of 0 to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's also conveniently listing the Celsius values as well. Now on to what I believe makes this air fryer oven so special. It's 7 different functions on how to cook food. Namely, air frying, broiling, warming, baking, rotisserie, convection baking, and of course, making toast. And for today's video, we're going to go over the baking option, but I can't wait to use this toaster oven in future videos to try out each new feature. And finally, on the far right side of the air fryer oven, you have the toasting option, ranging from a light, medium to dark toast, and you can toast things such as bread, scones, pizza, biscuits, whatever you can think of. And now let's take a peek on the inside, where you can see that there are 3 different rows that you can place an oven rack in, as well as the rotisserie features on the sides, and on the top and the bottom are your heating elements. And for the internal dimensions, you have a width of 12 inches from side to side, a depth of 11 inches, and a height of about 8 inches from the floor to the ceiling of the interior. So this has enough room inside of it to cook a small chicken if you wanted. And as far as the external dimensions are concerned, it is about 13 inches tall and 15 inches wide, making it perfect to fit on your countertop. You just want to keep in mind as a safety feature that when you're using this, you want at least 10 centimeters or about 4 inches of space from each side of the oven, as it generates heat when it's cooking. And finally, before diving into the recipe, we have a couple of accessories that come alongside the oven. Namely, the instruction manual, a cookbook with several recipes that use the best functions of this oven, an air fryer basket, ideal for small size food, frying chips, chicken, and roasting nuts, a baking tray, ideal for reheating foods and cooking crispy treats, a grill rack for grilling, roasting, and also when you want to provide effective air circulation, a rotisserie skewer and its forks, ideal for roasts and whole roasting a rotisserie chicken. And to accompany that, there's also a rotisserie tool to safely remove the rotisserie skewer and fork set from the oven. Following that, we have a safety handle that can be used to remove the baking tray, the grill rack, and the frying basket from the oven as well. And last but not least, we have a removable crumb tray that can capture any of those small bits of debris throughout the baking process. This is truly an impressive kitchen tool, and I can't wait to show you guys how it works later on in this video. Now let's get into making this recipe. So in a medium-sized bowl, we want to mix together our flour, the baking soda, and the salt until they're all well combined. And this creates our dry mix. If you don't already have roughly chopped cashews, you want to place your cashews onto a cutting board and using a sharp knife, simply chop them a few times to create some coarsely chopped cashews. We don't want to grind them up to bits by any means. We just want them small enough that we can get a nice crunch of cashew with each bite of the cookie. And now in a separate large bowl or in the bowl of a stand mixer, you want to beat the butter on medium speed alongside the white and brown sugar. You want to keep mixing this until it becomes light and fluffy, and this should take about 2 minutes. And the beauty of this recipe is that you don't need a stand mixer or an electric mixer. You can do this all by hand. So now, while mixing on low speed, you want to add the eggs one at a time to the batter, not adding the next until the former egg has been incorporated. And once you've added both of your eggs to the mix, you want to add in your vanilla extract and whisk that until it's incorporated. While mixing on low speed, slowly add in your dry mix into the wet mix until it's just combined. So your resulting batter should look something like this. And at this stage, you want to add in your chocolate chips, as well as your chopped cashews from earlier, and fold them into the dough. My favorite way of doing it is by hand. Now that you've made your cookie dough, we want to chill it for a little bit, so you want to cover this with plastic wrap and allow it to chill in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes to an hour. This helps to make the cookie dough more easily manageable. Now that we've given them a little bit of time to chill in the fridge, you want to form the dough into 1.5 tablespoons worth of dough balls. And you want to place these on a parchment paper lined baking sheet. And since we're using the Feekaa Air Fryer Oven, we have the baking tray that can fit about 6 cookies on it of this size. And so to make things easier for ourselves, we can form all the dough balls in advance so that we have them all ready to go when we're ready to bake them. So for baking, since my countertops are very slick, I like placing the fryer oven on a silicone baking mat, and this really helps it not slip on the countertop. So if you have pretty slick countertops like I do, I would suggest using that to prevent any safety concerns. So when ready to bake, you want to place your baking tray of cookies onto the second rack of the Feekaa oven, and you want to set the temperature dial to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And Feekaa recommends an additional 5 minutes to allow for preheating, so this recipe calls for 9 to 10 minutes of baking, so we're going to set our dial to 15 minutes. And once our timer is set to 15 minutes, the internal light pops on, so you can see how the cookies bake throughout the entire process. This is another really cool feature, especially here on YouTube, where I can show you how the cookies form in the oven. Once the timer is done, you're going to hear a bell ring, the light's going to turn off on the inside, and your cookies are ready to remove from the oven. And you want to allow the cookies to cool completely on the baking tray, and then just repeat this process with the remaining amount of cookie dough. And just like that, you've made cashew chocolate chip cookies right at home. I feel like the combination of chocolate and cashews cannot be denied. It's simply delicious, and you all have to try this recipe at home yourselves. I want to give another big special thank you to Feekaa for reaching out to our channel. Their air fryer oven is awesome. It has so many different functions, and I can't wait to try them all out. Well, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this review and recipe, and if you did, make sure to smash that like button for me. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel to see more recipes like this one. And sharing is caring, so if you think someone else will enjoy this recipe as much as you did, feel free to share this with all your family and friends. And stay tuned for next week, where we have another really delicious cookie recipe, Snickerdoodles. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Check out more recipes on my channel now, and I'll see you next week on another episode of Chef Vic Cuisine. And until then, peace.